Hi, I'm Rick Myers, and you're listening to A Shark's Perspective.
Welcome back, and thank you for joining A Shark's Perspective. I am Kenneth Kinney, but friends call me Shark. I am a keynote speaker, a strategist, a shark diver, host of this show, and your chief shark officer. For many companies, small to large, who want to grow, they need leads, and lots of them. But despite their efforts on their own channels, like digital, TV, print, social, etc., they need more. There are many third-party lead gen companies and aggregators out there who often work in various verticals to create and sell leads in higher ed, insurance and financial services, home services, etc. A lead aggregator is a company that provides services to companies who need that help in generating quality leads. And basically, if you go to Google and you need a master's degree, an insurance quote, or a shower remodeled, then odds are there are multiple websites where consumers can fill out a form or make a call and connect with someone who provides that service. But for the buyer of those leads, the brand itself, just pouring money into what is effectively another lead channel isn't always the best way if it's not done with the right kind of partner or with the right kind of internal efficiencies. You can blow through a lot of money quickly with little to show for it, and if it's not an ethical company, well, then dust off the attorneys. Then how do you go about generating more leads with the right kind of third-party lead gen source? Rick Myers is the VP of Sales and co-owner at HelloProject, a third-party lead source that connects best-in-class contractors with homeowners needing projects completed. And on this episode, we will discuss lead generation, being an aggregator versus a marketing company, the irritating problem of scammers with bots, when to use and not use an external lead gen source, operational efficiencies, and handling leads correctly, differentiation as a source, lead form length, differentiating your sales teams by getting to know customers better with or without a script, NFL tryouts, the Pacers and Jazz, forums and calls, and a lot more. So let's tune into a lead source seller with a speed to lead shark on this episode of A Shark's Perspective. Rick, welcome to A Shark's Perspective. If you would, tell us a little bit about your background and your career to date.
Oh, certainly. Shark, Kenneth, I can do that for you. I've been around the lead gen for quite a while as a top guy at Angie's List and Home Advisor for a bit. Left there probably, I don't know, it's been about 7 years ago now, and started HelloProject about just over 4 years ago with the perspective that we wanted to make sure that we had unprecedented communication and we were able to make sure we could help people with what they're looking for as far as home services. So before that, I been doing a lot actually in that when I left college, had a tryout in the NFL and tried that stint for a little bit, and then worked with a major company nationwide for about 20 years selling high-end products. So yeah, I've been around a lot of people and love the home improvement industry.
So where did you play?
I actually had a try with the Washington Redskins. Yeah, as a free agent.
Where did you go to college?
I went to Ball State University.
Yeah. Oh, there's your Indiana roots. So
It was the Indiana Roots, yeah. I just lived up. I was born and raised in Noblesville, Indiana. So, God, it was only 45 minutes from Ball State. Yeah.
So your company, Hello Project, does a lot in home services. Why, from a lead generation standpoint? And I guess it's sort of natural when you leave Angie and Home Advisor, but why do you think a lead aggregator like a Hello Project works so well in the home services space?
For us, it's really that we just care. I mean, we actually care. Not Home Advisor and Angela didn't, because they definitely did. It's a different situation with us where limited sources and people. We want to make sure that we're able to provide the best services possible we could, and understanding that it took, like I said before, unprecedented communication. It's all about good, the bad, and the ugly. And then most of the stuff, we don't really look at ourselves as an aggregator as much as a marketing company, because most of what we do is internal. I mean, we do a lot of the Google search, social media, YouTube channels, all kinds of different ways. We talk to a lot of smart people. We have some smart people within our company that know what they're doing as far as finding the proper lead and looking for the proper demographics to find the right people. It's just putting effort into it. I mean, so Yeah, it's easy to find companies you can buy leads from and broker them and mark them up and sell them. That's not what we're about. We're about delivering the best leads possible, getting feedback on our leads, and producing the best leads that we can to everybody that's interested in getting leads.
So, what do you think the state of the state is? Again, I know you're on the sales side, if you will, in that you're selling leads. But what do you think is from an overall perspective, especially with aggregators? I'm not to your point. You're a different type of company, you and several others in that space.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think of it, if I could just sort of package it as an aggregator of sorts, what do you think the state of the market is with lead aggregators today, and what you see as far as the things that we need to be most concerned about?
Yeah, really good question. And it's funny, you and I talked a couple of days ago, Kenneth, and we were talking about the bot situation. So there's a lot of scammers out there. There's a lot of I mean, and we've noticed it was crazy. A lot of people that register for stuff for a new home, that are building a new home and gathering information. Um, I think we had a situation. Me and my partner were talking. I think we had a situation where a lot of leads that we'd sent out, we noticed that they were all new builds, and we're like, that's kind of weird, right? Because that typically doesn't happen in that part of the funnel. And so yeah, the scam and the bots and stuff like that happening now is you really, I mean, you just have to pay thousands of dollars a month with two or three different companies to find that and understand that. I think AI is the game changer. It really is. And I think that's going to help you target the right audience all the time. And then you can preset ads and marketing for years in advance. So you can go to a certain market and know exactly what you want to do, what you want to present, if it's a picture, if it's a video, that kind of thing. So AI I see is a huge mover here in the next, it's happening now. It's been happening for the last probably 2.5 years, but I think going into 2024, it's going to be dynamic. And I think the bot and the robbery and the scams are never going to go away. They always find a way to do it. You just got to be smart about it. And you got to accept in some situations that your customer's right, right? When somebody says, hey, I'm running into this, say, yeah, we normally don't run into that, but we could. Let's talk about it. And it's always having discussions when things get a little crazy. So everything's smooth and everything's running good and you're happy and they're happy, and then all of a sudden something goes sideways. It's usually not either party. It's not the person buying the leads, or it's not us. It's something that interfered between us, so we got to figure out why it happened.
I'm going to back up because I jumped into talking about this, and I sometimes forget, having been in the lead gen space for a lot of times, that we may be talking about terms that even some of the audience may not know. But
Yeah.
I think, just to oversimplify this for people that may not understand what we're talking about with lead gen aggregators and lead gen in general, is a lot of people will go to websites like Rick's company and like other companies, Angie, Home Advisor, HelloProject. There's a lot of them in a lot of different verticals. They'll fill out a lead form and then sell that lead with transparency to the customer, or the consumer rather. They will sell that lead to a buyer who works with a company who will then contact them for service. So when you think about the value, and I'm sure you have to go through some convincing strategies as well with companies that look at leads from a sales standpoint, but just as a smart lead gen person standpoint, when do you think a company should use a company like yours, not necessarily yours, but one like yours, to supplement them with leads? And when is a good use case of when they should not?
Really good. First one, I would say I would use a third party sourcing when you get to the point where you truly understand how to work your current leads you have. We run into all kinds of companies, and one of the first things I ask people is like, how do you work your leads when they come in? Walk me through. I'm a new customer. Walk me through the process. Where does it go? What has follow up? How do you work your leads? And once you figure out how to work a lead and you have the right people to do it, and you're squeezing that rag till you get all the water out of it to make sure that, hey, we're doing everything we can do and it's working, then you're always looking, okay, we need more leads because we know how to work the leads. Do not go buy a bunch of leads from our company at HelloProject or anybody when you run into a situation where you don't know how to work what you have and you're not hitting the margins you want to hit. So a lot of times people have to have their KPIs on where they want to be, key performance indicators of the company and sales, and making sure that you're on top of those. And if you're hitting your appointment set rate, your closing percentage, marketing costs, then you jump all over as many leads as you can get because you know how to work the system. So don't buy them if you don't know how to work what you're doing. Do buy them, and as many as you can and as you can, work with, but make sure that you're monitoring that because you already know how to do it. So at the end of 30 days, if you pick a new company to work with and buy leads, you know where you need to be already. You need to share that with them on the front end. And then after 30 days saying, hey, you did help us. We produced more business because of you. We hit our numbers in our matrix that we need to hit. So let's keep doing business. I wouldn't do long-term agreements with anybody, month-to-month agreements are the smartest, and just make sure you're comfortable with the way your process flows, and you'll be fine with any company.
Well, I listen to a lot of smart marketers across a lot of different fields of marketing, and you hear people nonstop talking about pour money into whichever channel they're arguing for the most, whether it be digital, whether it be content, whether it be TV advertising, whatever it is, whatever the channel, direct mail, email, whatever. You don't hear a lot of people arguing for aggregators. So I'm going to say aggregators from a third-party lead source. Why should that be the place that somebody pour more money into as opposed to a lot of the, say, traditional channels, knowing that they know how to work their leads? But why should they spend more money with a third-party lead source as opposed to pouring more money into digital or TV or something else?
Yeah, really good question. I think what you find with quite a few of the aggregators now, there's lots of them, and there wasn't. God, several years ago, there wasn't a lot of them, right? Wasn't a lot of choices. Well, it's now been created that you need those choices because they can't get enough leads from those other sources you just mentioned. So every market is completely different on how you market to find that customer. So, guys, there's areas where mailers still work. There's TV commercials work. The best companies find what works best with do a combination, and they still find that they need somebody else to help them get leads. So when you look at an aggregator or a third party or someone like us that's more of a marketing kind of company because we do it internally, we just hire a lot of smart people that are a lot smarter than us saying, listen, go figure out Google. Tell us what you know about Google. You've been doing it for 15, 20 years. Take all that knowledge and figure it out for us. So we're able to pay people to do that and just focus on that one thing. Same with social media when it came along. Like who can do the social media? Who understands how all that works, right? And then once those people are on your team and you figure it out, then you can drive a lot of solid business to these other companies that are using those other sources. But what I found more than anything is there's not enough leads. And there's definitely not enough good leads flowing in every day to businesses, right? If it's not word of mouth, there's people have options and shop. So it's a lot different than it used to be with all the different options of saying, I want this or want that, and I can go find this here, there, what have you.
One of the best arguments I always find for working with a third party source is you can put a dollar figure to the lead very easily. You can't do that with a lot of your digital marketing efforts when you don't know if it's going to work or not. And that's
good point. Yeah,
it's one of the things that I just ran through this with somebody who wanted to pull back on their digital spend for PPC because they wanted to invest more heavily into leads where they had a quantifiable number around them. And granted, they weren't in their lifetime value wasn't necessarily part of the measurement because they do a shorter term sale that doesn't really repeat over even a 20-year period. So I thought that was interesting as they were starting to pull back. But when you start thinking about all the traffic that you get your traffic from, what do you see as a big challenge with digital marketing today? Because most of the time people are filling them out on a form and, you like any other marketing company have to figure out a best way to get people to interact with your platform to do that. So what are the kinds of things that you guys think through when you're trying to design a better mousetrap, if you will, for leads?
Yeah, really good question. It's funny. It's so different in every region of the country. It blows my mind. So there's short forms, there's long forms. There's, you typically say if you ask less questions, it's a less qualified customer. Not necessarily. It's time management. So then it's the message you put across or a video you send to them or what have you. But we have found that deeper funnels tend to weed out a lot of people. And sometimes it may not, you may weed out people you don't want to weed out. It may be somebody, saying, I got to, have my kitchen redone. And I just feel something out really quick. I just kind of want to get an idea and I want to talk to somebody, have someone give me a quote. They don't want to go through the funnel because they don't know all the answers. So what we've been doing is we run them through a deep funnel, and in some cases it may be 40% of those people fill out all the information you're asking for, the time, everything. The further down the funnel they are, when you turn that lead over, the better you're going to have a chance of an appointment and closing them. So we're finding in some cases 40% of the people fill out all that information. They're solid. Then the other 60%, probably 80% of those people are just time wasters. They have no idea. They're just curious. So you get them out of the way. But there's 20% of there that still there's meat on the bone, right? There's still people going, I don't want to fill out all this information right now, but I am interested. And you still have to capture that information, and we do. And then we have people calling those people that, or we'll personally text them ourselves and do an automation to find out if that person really meant not to go through the whole funnel. It's crazy, but it's the right messaging when you do them both. So I say the short form and long form are good. And if somebody leaves the channel or filling out the information midstream, then you want to contact them and make sure that, hey, you left early, but we want to make sure you're taken care of. You still want that kitchen remodel.
So one of the other huge issues that I run into all the time and have for the last 2 decades dealing with this stuff is I know a lot of companies who buy a lot of leads, a lot of billion-dollar brands and a lot of several million-dollar brands. And a lot of the common problems they run into, I'm sure you see over and over and over again. But what advice would you give teams for closing the leads better that they receive? Not necessarily from HelloProject, but from, even in your past companies, if you were thinking about how they could have closed Angie's leads better in the past. I think a lot of times it's hard for call center teams. It's hard for performance marketers. It's hard for owners and people that are funding all this to sometimes understand their own sausage making process. And I'd love to hear what your advice is for closing the leads better, regardless of the source.
Yeah, I would tell you 100%. If you understand people hate to be sold, but they love to buy. So personality is everything. And I've talked to and done a lot of training with call center people and salespeople. And there's so much difference between a poly salesperson and the call center person. The call center is scripted. It is scripted. And a lot of that happens because they prejudge what that person may be, or, it may be the lead source it comes in from, but they do a lot of prejudging of a customer. And I'm telling you, if you sit down with them and you treat them and you listen, and I always say, listen, agree, repeat, isolate, and close. So I always want to listen to what they have to say, agree that I hear it, repeat that back to them to make sure we're on the same page, isolate that situation we're talking about, like, do you offer financing or what have you, and then close that one situation out. It's easier. So I would say with the call center people, it's get to know that client a little better and not just as another phone call and I got to bust out another phone call, because they all come together. And all those call centers tend to do is find the obvious buyers and the obvious people that aren't buying. Well, hopefully we've done a good job in marketing, make sure that helps you too when you get it. But it's really saying, okay, let's talk about what you want. This call is about you. It's not about me. Thanks for taking time today. You want to get a bathroom model. Let's talk about that a second. Right. So I think it's just slowing down a little bit. Understand they love to buy, they hate to be sold, and let it be about them and not about you. And it's going to run a lot smoother.
I think another one of the ones that I'll add as well, and I run into this all the time, speed to lead. Mm-hmm. Regardless of whatever kind of fancy dialer you may have in your place, it is remarkable how often I have filled out a form or how often a customer fills out a form and it takes people to call somebody at night. They don't call them they fill out a form on a Friday night, but they don't call them until Monday afternoon when they get caught up. And then they wonder why the customer doesn't want to talk to them on Monday afternoon. They talk to somebody else on Saturday and they bought. And it happens over and over because they don't really think about that operational efficiency.
Oh, and really think about that, Shark. That's a given thing, man.
Yeah. Oh,
Like if,
absolutely.
and yeah, especially when you think about everybody wants gratification, they want an answer now. We have zero patience because everything's handed to us so quickly. We want everything done for us fast. So for some company not to follow up on a lead as soon as it comes in, because people want that. And what's that secret number? 5 minutes or less. But I can tell you where I really see speed to lead is SMS, is texting. And I can tell you what really works is a picture, maybe before and after or something. And thanks for choosing such and such a company. Here's the job we just completed. Love to jump on a call, click on my calendar. Just a text message is 70, 80% chance getting, a response than if you call them. I would text first and then call, but I would do that, like you say, immediately. Speed to lead is important.
So I love though what you said about differentiating, especially with personality with a call center team. I want to ask another differentiation question because there are a lot of companies in this space. How do you go about, especially with HelloProject and like you did before when you were with other companies, how do you really differentiate yourself from other companies? Because again, a lot of times if somebody's going to your website, they're looking to get a new bathtub or a new kitchen cabinets or whatever it is. When they go to your site, they do have choices. And for yours to be the best choice, what do you guys do to make it the best choice? Granted, we know that people often fill out on other pages too. They may fill out more than multiple forms, but still, what makes yours a better one?
We keep it Sesame Street simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we have found the easier, the less of the fluff and the more the streamlined, simple, like it's funny. And I'll say this because it's so true. So when these people fill out information, wherever you may find them, whoever's the best at finding the golden egg kind of thing, right? Who's the best at finding that right person? It's they don't even remember your company's name after the fact. And I'm talking, they will fill out information with us. We'll send over the information, says Hello Project Lead and all that stuff. The people go, I don't know, I just found it online, or I don't know, maybe my friend told me about it. That's what's crazy. So we try to keep it Sesame Street simple, very clean, and simple, soft colors on ads that people look at and go, oh, I trust that. And then of course you have trusted forms and everything at the bottom and the BBB and all this other stuff to build that trust. But it's really keeping things simple. It's not overcomplicating trying to get somebody's information.
That's why asking people where they heard about you is the worst responded answer you will ever get because it's probably the TV ad they saw 10 minutes before, but they just filled out a form or they heard it on the radio driving over and that's the only thing they remember and just ran into them. It happens
And you think
in every
you
business.
think about it, Kenneth. We're branding for everybody. Everybody's branding other companies. We're all branding, and it's like we're just branding our industry. We're not really branding our names because people are going to just it's an impulse. I found this first. I'll go here. Oh, I want to go here. Yeah, it's just knowing where to be. Really, the AI comes in, artificial intelligence comes in when you start to you're able to monetize that information and find out, say, okay, we know that females between the ages of 30 and 45 typically do their shopping at this time or look at this ad or that ad. That will change everything because you've already got behavior habits that people have that now you can track. And you don't even have to send a message 24/7. You just send it when they're looking. You just send it to the right people at the right time, and they go, "Oh, well, you see it now." I mean, every time I drive by Costco, and there's like here in Salt Lake City, I don't know, there's 7 or 8 ginormous Costco's. Every time I either say the word Costco or drive by there, I get a message. And that's a lot of other companies. So they're trying to find out when's the best time to approach this person where they're going to be a better lead. And that's what we're really focused on now is like, let's not waste any more time or money or people's efforts or companies' times and their money and really try to go fishing in the right area at the right time.
Well, one more thing, we started talking about bots and fraud and at the front end, and I also wanted to kind of close on that note and talk a little bit about what you and what I'd like to believe all the ethical companies do to ensure that you do what you can to make certain that they are TCPA compliant and all the things. So, talk a little bit about that, about what's important for a third party source to do to make certain that just from a transparency standpoint, that consumers know that their data is being protected, that the company that buys the lead understands that it's the sessions being recorded, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so TPCA compliant and all the other regulations and steps that you have to follow to gather people's information. And then you have to have them opt in to be able to text the contractors and can text them and call them and communicate. And they're signing off on that when they fill out the information. I think more than the obvious, because you have to do that. You got to do all the legal stuff. You got to do everything the right way. Otherwise, you're going to be in hot water. So everything that needs to be done the right way, we do the right way. We pay the companies that need to make sure that's done for us. And then we check on that constantly. So that's a given. You have to do that. But I think the second part of this is knowing that you have good. We always tell people we want the good and bad and the ugly. And the companies that we work with, we say, listen, we know if our program doesn't work, it's not you, it's us. Because we know you know how to work a lead, we know how to follow up, we know how you do everything you do. We know that it's going to be treated correctly. So it only comes back to us. What blows my mind more than anything is the amount of companies that will not give you reporting. They won't send you. And we want this reporting, disposition reporting. We're saying, listen, we want to know the good, bad, and the ugly of our leads, and if it's working or not. So we want disposition, and we then can optimize. Then we can go and say, okay, these leads and these sources didn't work, but this did work. I think that stems from when the lead business started a long, long time ago, probably 30 years ago or so, 35 really strong. Is that when it first was introduced, those people were scamming, selling just trash. There was no credits. You could never talk to them after you bought the leads, that you were stuck. And that was horrible. So that put a big scar on the industry. So people were like, oh, you really do care. You do want this. They weren't used to giving it because you'd even ask them for a disposition or give me reporting. They go, what? How do I get that? Right. So I think what happened over the years, it's starting to get better now where people are saying, well, I do have that information. I want to share it with you. And honestly, it helps because then you can optimize correctly. And that's another part of being, the kind of company you want to work with is somebody that's able to say, listen, give us everything. We'll take your phone call anytime and tell us what's going on.
Well, Rick, I asked this of everybody's been on the show. You're not going to find any in Salt Lake, but what is your favorite kind of shark and why?
I'm intrigued by the bull shark because that cat can go everywhere, right? It's up in the rivers, it's aggressive, and it's pretty thick. Um, I'd say out of all the sharks, the obvious is great white because of the size, but I got to go with the mako.
Okay.
Yeah,
Speed to lead, fast shark. So
speed to lead. Yeah, find a target, hit it.
I just dove with bull sharks 2 weeks ago, saw them on my second dive, big fat head, and they're
Yeah,
extremely annoying and aggressive. All right. Well,
they
Rick,
are.
it's that special time of the show. Are you ready for the 5 most interesting and important questions that you're going to be asked today?
Yes.
All right. So you're from Indiana, but you live in Utah. But let's
Mhm.
just say you went to a game on a neutral site. Who would you pull for? Utah Jazz or Indiana Pacers?
Oh, Pacers. I'm a Reggie Miller fan. I went to tons of games in the '90s. Yeah, Pacers.
Yeah. All right. Number two. For a lead gen form, are you a preference to short forms or long forms?
A preference. I like the long forms as long as I can also get information to people that leave that long form, text them, and communicate with them.
Fair enough. All right. Number three, you mentioned your phone listening to what you're talking about.
Mhm.
Costco or Sam's Club?
Costco, hands down. Sam's Club. I'm an anti Walmart, so
Okay.
I'm an anti Costco. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm an anti Walmart, so I'm for sure an anti Sam's. Costco all the way.
I would agree. Yeah, I think even Sam's Club is when I'm near it.
Yeah.
Costco's where I want to go. All right, number
Yeah.
4. Let's say they perform at the same level and cost the same amount. I'm trying to put them on neutral territory so the math works out. Would you rather have form leads or calls?
Wow. I calls if they were delivered correctly. You mean as a company? Yes, for sure. Yeah. If I had somebody on both ends were doing the right thing, yeah.
All right, number 5, and the most important question you're going to be asked today is biscuits or cornbread?
Biscuits.
Okay,
Biscuits and gravies, that might have my home run.
there you go. All right, so Rick, where can people find out more about you, find out what's going on in Hello Project and more?
Certainly. You can go to HelloProjectUSA.com and check our website out. You can call me directly on my cell, 317-442-5222. Shoot me an email at rick@HelloProjectUSA.com. And yeah, love to talk to you and tell you what we're all about.
All right, Rick, thank you so much for being with us today on A Shark Perspective.
Thank you.
So there was my conversation with Rick Myers, the VP of Sales and co-owner at Hello Project, a third-party lead source that connects best-in-class contractors with homeowners needing projects completed. Let's take a look at 3 key takeaways from my conversation with him. First, my favorite part was about when someone should or should not work with a third-party lead gen source. He basically said that you should use one when you truly understand how to work the leads you have, and it's so incredibly true. Too many companies get on the hamster wheel of churn too early by buying too many leads without achieving real operational efficiencies in how they handle those leads. I've talked about the acquisition addiction issue, or acquisition, before. We move on way before we're ready way too often. Get ready first. Get your processes, scripts, timing, dialer and CRM, personnel, measurement, cost of marketing and KPIs. Get them all ready first, and then as Shark decrees, you may buy more. I doubt that you'll wait, but it would save you a lot of money and make you a lot more. Second, we spoke about the annoying problem that bots represent and how they gum up the system with bad leads. Look, if you're working with a third-party lead gen source, then make as certain as you can that they're transparent and ethical with the traffic that produces those leads you end up buying. Make sure that they follow TCPA guidelines, that they have recorded sessions to validate traffic. Encourage them to join organizations like the Consumer Consent Council so they'll be more aware of the guidelines. You cannot fix everything, but at least you can develop a better relationship with what is basically a channel partner supplying you leads who also doesn't want to send you junk traffic created by bots. Third, love the advice for closing the leads better. Call center teams often overscript their reps. Polished salespeople, including salespeople at a call center, know the script, but show their personality a little more and get to know the customer better than just when following a script. Give your peeps a little room to help make that experience unique and not a drill. And don't forget speed to lead. It's still a problem. Call qualified leads quickly. Not too desperate fast, but don't wait a week either, and then it suddenly becomes a rehash campaign. Got a question? Send me an email to kenneth@asharksperspective.com. Thank you again for the privilege of your time, and I'm so thankful to everyone who listens. Want to grow your business with more leads? Then join us here on the next episode of A Shark's Perspective.